Hi everyone. Today we'll start the topic of bonds, valuation and characteristics. So what are we going to see? First, we'll start from the very basic things about what is a bond, some terminology about bonds, who needs bonds, relationship between the yield and the price, how bonds behave, types of bonds. You're going to see many different types of bonds like inflation index bonds, junk bonds, Brady bonds, bond ratings, convertible bonds, callable bonds, puttable bonds, sinking funds, balloon bonds, bonds laddering technique. And then we'll move to the more quantitative aspects of bonds. We'll see 5 different bonds pricing principles. We'll see how to do arbitrage using bonds, duration, bonds versus stocks, and foreign bonds. So let's start. First of all, what is a bond? A bond is a loan. Now, many corporations and any other enterprise for that matter, they can issue money, raise money by issuing bonds. Bonds is very simple. The enterprise, a corporation, it could be a municipality, a government, any kind of entity like that can issue bonds. They raise money by issuing bonds. They ask the public to give them money to purchase their bonds in the first place. Later on, the issuer will have to pay back the bondholders some principal and some interest. There's got to be some interest, there's got to be some return, positive returns to the bondholders. Otherwise, no one will buy the bonds in the first place. Now, a major difference between stocks and bonds is that stocks make no promises about dividends or returns, but bonds actually do. Behind bonds, there is a commitment, there is an obligation. The bond issuer promises to pay back the loan plus some return, some interest rate. This is not the same thing when you buy a stock. When you buy a stock, no one is promising you anything. However, when you buy a bond, there is a commitment behind that, and therefore, bonds usually are considered less risky, safer than stocks. In addition to that, even if hell breaks through and the issuer of the bonds file for bankruptcy or defaults, either Chapter 11 or Chapter 7, the money, whatever the enterprise can liquidate from its assets, the money first and foremost goes to the bondholders, to the creditors. Then and only then, whatever is left is distributed pro rata to the shareholders. That's why the shareholders are called the residual claimants, while the bondholders, the debt holders, the creditors, they get higher priority to collect the money. Once again, this is another reason why bondholders are considered safer than shareholders. A little bit terminology, and then we'll see different examples. First of all, face value. Face value or par value, it is the same thing. That's the amount of money to be paid back to the bondholders at the end. Now, for any purpose, most bonds will pay $1,000. So in this course, even if it's not specifically written on the problem, you can always assume that the face value or the par value is $1,000. Maturity date. Once you buy a bond, the issuer promises to pay you back on a particular day. Unlike stocks that can for any purpose, they can exist forever, bonds have a limited lifetime. They mature, they expire. Some bonds can mature after a couple of months, some of them a year, maybe a couple of years, but that's about it. They have a limited lifetime, and then they mature, they expire, they vanish, they no longer exist. On the day of the maturity date, this is the day where the bond issuer will pay the par value or the face value back to the debt holder, to the bondholder. Coupons. Some bonds pay coupons, some don't. For example, you buy a bond with $1,000 face value, a 5% coupon, and a 10-year maturity. You will collect interest payments of $50 each year. Pay attention, the 5% coupon is calculated out of the face value or the par value $1,000. So it is $50. And those $50 will be paid every year for the next 10 years, including the last day, the day of maturity. Coupons can be expressed either as dollar amount or percentage. It's the same thing. You can either say that this bond pays $50 coupons, or you can say that's a 5% coupon rate bond. The percentage is always taken out of the face value or the par value, which is for our purpose always $1,000. So it's very easy to calculate. Let's see a couple of examples for bonds that pay coupons and bonds that do not pay coupons. So here are quick examples about a coupon bond and a zero coupon bond. A coupon bond, for example, this coupon bond is for 4 years and it is a 6% coupon rate. First, you pay the bond's price, which is $970. That's a negative cash flow. Money is leaving your pockets. That's why it's a negative cash flow. And in addition to that, after you pay, you will start to receive those coupons, never at the present time. You will always start to receive them after the next period, which could be a year or two or so on, or it could be semi-annually and so forth. But if it is a 6% coupon bond paid annually, you will receive $60, $60, $60, $60 every year. And in addition to the last coupon, you will also receive the par value or the face value as $1,000 at the day of maturity. Altogether, you will receive $1,060 at year number 4. So that's a very simple coupon bond. Here is a zero coupon bond. A zero coupon bond for 4 years. This is the bond's price. You need to pay right at the beginning $930. Once again, it is a negative cash flow because you need to pay that. Nothing happens during the lifetime of the bond. You do not receive any coupons, and at the end you will receive the $1,000 par value or face value. So that's a zero coupon bond, and that's a simple coupon bond. Coupons can be expressed either as dollar amount or percentage. You can say that this coupon bond is $60 coupon or 6% coupon rate. Once again, the percentage is always taken out of the par value, which is for our purpose $1,000, so it's easy to calculate. I want you to pay attention that a zero coupon bond has to be a discount not only at initiation, but also during the lifetime of the bonds. You need to remember that bonds are traded. People buy them and sell them also during the lifetime of the bond. So you do not have to purchase the bond right at the very beginning. You can purchase the bond somewhere here, it doesn't matter during the lifetime of the bond. The thing about zero coupon bond is that this is the only cash inflow that you expect. You will receive, or you or the bondholder, whoever it is, will receive $1,000 par value on the day of maturity after 4 years. The thing is that because there are no additional cash flows during the lifetime of the bond, no one is willing to pay more than $1,000 and then wait and then receive only $1,000 later on. No one will buy this bond for more than $1,000 and lose money. And therefore, the price of the bond, not only here at initiation, but also during the lifetime of the bond, has to remain below $1,000. So a discount bond a zero coupon bond always mean a discount bond. Always. The price of the bond must be below the par value of the bond. What about a coupon bond? A coupon bond can in fact be anything. The price of the bond can be below the par value, which means that the bond will be a discount. It can be equal or it can be bigger than the par value. In fact, it is possible to see bonds that are priced exactly at par, which means that you need to pay right at the beginning $1,000. Receive some coupons along the way. In addition to that, receive the $1,000 par value. That's a positive return. Obviously, we need to account for the time value of money. But in addition to that, it's also possible to find bonds at premium, where the price is even higher than the par value. It is possible, for example, that you will see a bond here that you need to pay $1,030, receive the $60, $60, $60, $60 coupons during the lifetime of the bond, including the last coupon taking place at the day of maturity. And in addition to that, you will receive the par value or the face value here. Still, that's a positive return after including the time value of money, and we will learn how to do that. So remember that a coupon bond That's a coupon bond. It can be at discount. It can be priced at par, or it can be at premium. Discount is whenever the price is below the par value. Par is whenever the price is exactly equal to the par. And premium is whenever the price is above the par. Once again, those kind of situations can occur during also the lifetime of the bond, not necessarily at initiation. A zero coupon bond, it has to be launched with a discount, which means that the price has to be lower than the par, and it has to remain at discount all during the lifetime of the bond. Let's see now more terminology. Zero coupon bond. Some bonds do not pay any interest, any coupons during the lifetime of the bond, and they are called a zero coupon bond. The yield. The yield is just another word for return. When we speak about bonds, we don't say return, we just say yield. But in fact, it's the same thing. The yield or the return on bonds is defined as very simple, how much you get relative to how much you pay. So the definition of yield is coupon divided by the price. Y is equal to C divided by P. Very simple. When you buy a bond, you pay the price, and during the lifetime of the bond, you expect to receive the coupons. In the strict definition of yield, we actually exclude the par value or the face value. If we will include the par value or the face value as an additional cash flow, then we'll speak about the yield to maturity. We're going to see that in a few minutes. But right now, let's discuss what is the meaning of the yield. Strictly the yield, just the return. How much you get, what is your annual return if you want, how much you get per year, the coupons per year, divided by the price, how much you pay. Who needs bonds? Well, basically everybody needs bonds. Every kind of enterprise needs money to operate, and one of the ways to raise money is to issue bonds. You can actually see that many companies, they issue bonds quite frequently, every year, every other year or so, while stock issuances, equity issuances are more rare. They happen once in a lifetime during the IPO, the initial public offering. Sometimes there is a seasonal equity offering, additional equity, but that's about it. Companies usually, after they go public, become a public company and they list their stocks on the stock market, they don't really issue more and more stocks, definitely not every year. But bonds, yes, we do see that companies and many other enterprises like municipalities, governments, and so on, they do issue bonds almost frequently, very, very regularly. What is the relationship between the yield and the price? Strictly from the definition of yield, which means yield is equal to coupon divided by the price, you can see that the yield and the price are inversely related. The price is in the denominator, so once the price goes up, the yield comes down. Once the price goes up, once the price goes down, the yield comes up. Let's see a numerical example. When the price goes down, the yield goes up. Consider a 30-year bond with a face value or a par value of $1,000 and a 6% coupon rate or a $60 coupon. Once again, let me remind you, coupons can be expressed either as dollar amount or percentage rate. The percentage is taken always out of the par value of $1,000. If the price during the lifetime of the bond suddenly falls to $800, you will still receive the $60 each year. You need to understand that the coupons are fixed once the bond is issued. So no one will change them. It's a contract between the bond issuer and the bondholders. And bondholders can switch hands. You can sell the bonds on the free market, so someone else can buy it now at $800. Consider yourself in this situation. You purchased the bond at $1,000, and you were given the promise to receive $60 every year. So if you pay $1,000 for a bond and you receive $60, your return, your yield is 6%. However, someone else now can come and buy this bond at a new price of $800. This someone else, his situation is better off. Why? He pays less than you. He pays $800 and still receives the same cash flow, the same coupons of $60 every year. In this case, obviously, he is better off. He is getting higher return than you. Obviously, he's paying less and receive the same cash flow. So he will receive 60 divided by $800, coupons divided by the price, which is 7.5%. Obviously, if the opposite situation occurs, which means if the price goes up to $1,200, no matter what, the person who holds the bond will still receive the $60 coupons every year. And in this case, the yield will come down to 5%. $60 coupon divided by $1,200 price, how much you get relative to how much you pay, is only 5%. Now the person that needs to buy the bond at a higher price gets a lower return, lower yield of only 5%. Here's the math. If you pay $1,000 for the bond, your yield is $60 divided by $1,000, coupons divided by the price, which is 6%. But if the price drops to $800, the yield will go up to 7.5%. 60 divided by 800 is 7.5%. If the price will go up to $1,200, clearly the new yield will be coupon divided by the new price, 60 divided by 1,200, which is 5%. It's very intuitive and pretty simple. There is another important term here which I mentioned already, which is called the yield to maturity. The yield to maturity will take into account the additional return that you may get if you're the person that will hold the bond until maturity. Just remember that bonds are traded. Bonds are traded on the free market, and despite the fact that you purchase the bond perhaps at initiation, it doesn't mean that you will hold it all the way until maturity. If you will sell the bond during the lifetime to someone else, you will collect only the coupons that you collected during the period that you were holding the bond, but you will not get the par value. The new person that bought the bond from you before maturity, he is the person that will get the par value. So for him, he needs to speak about the yield to maturity. If you're the person who holds the bond all the way until maturity, for you, what really matters is the yield to maturity. Now, sometimes the yield to maturity can be different than just the yield. Let's see why. Here is an example. In the last example, if you buy the bond right after its price went down to $800, but you hold it until maturity, not only that you will get the $60 every year, but you will also get the $1,000 at the end. That's an extra bonus. That's an extra return. Why is that? Right now, the bond is priced at $800. And you will get some extra return, $1,000. This is true that it is taking place only a couple of years ahead of us, which means we need to account for the time value of money. It's not an extra $200 return. You cannot subtract $800 that you pay now from the $1,000 that you will get in the future. No. The rules of time value of money say that you can add or subtract cash flows only when they take place at the same point in time. However, this is still additional return. That's an extra bonus, extra return here, because you pay $800, you will receive $1,000. You will get more later on than what you pay now. Let's see how to calculate now the yield to maturity. The yield to maturity, YTM, will take into account both the coupons, the price, and also the par value. So here is how to calculate the yield to maturity. You insert in a financial calculator the minus $800, and then you click on the present value. 60 are the payments, those are the coupons. 30 is in the number of years. $1,000 is the face value or the future value or the par value, but in your calculator you press on the key FV for face value. And then you ask the calculator, compute I% or I/Y. Pay attention that, at least in Texas Instruments, the key is marked as I/Y, which is either interest rate or yield. Now you understand that yield is the same thing as an interest rate. It's a percentage return. This is what it means. The result should be 7.73, which is just slightly more than just the yield. The yield here was strictly 7.5%, 7.5%. Why is that? Coupons of $60 divided by price of $800, that's 7.5%. But the yield to maturity is higher than that. It is 7.73%. Just because you pay right now $800 and you will receive $1,000 later on. So that's an extra return, that's a bonus. This is why it will boost your yield to maturity slightly higher than that. A word of caution is required here. I'm really asking you to actually stop the presentation and try it for yourself on your financial calculator. Please try it and make sure that you receive 7.73%. From my experience, many students over the years, they did not receive 7.73%. That's because their calculator, for some reason, was set to the wrong mode. So trust me, 7.73% is the correct answer. If for some reason you try this example and you do not get 7.73%, please read the manual, change the mode of your calculator, and make sure to try it again and again until you will receive 7.73% yield to maturity, because that's the correct answer.